welcome to this free course by Dream Mentorship. If you're here, I'm excited that you're here, and you'll probably have questions about how to craft the perfect resume. You are in the right course, so let's get right into it. No wasting more time. So today we'll be talking about how to craft the perfect resume and provide a guide for you so that your resume can get noticed when you're applying for a job. In today's course, we'll be teaching about must-haves on your resume, things you need to remove from your resume, power words to describe your roles, your responsibilities, your previous jobs, your volunteer opportunities, and things that you have done. And ultimately, we want to also help you address important skills that employers want to see on that resume. All right, let's get into it. First of all, you want to make sure that your resume is concise, free from errors, and should get your reviewers' attention within 6 to 30 seconds. It's very important that you give your resume to someone who can review it to make sure that it's free from error, it's short, preferably one page, and that's all you need to put on your resume. You don't want your resume to be too long, and you don't want your resume to have a whole lot of information that is not relevant to the position that you're applying for. A wordy resume is a hindrance. What decision makers want is a solution to their problem. You definitely want to incorporate that into your life. You don't want your resume to be too wordy, too lengthy, and unnecessarily full of things that are not relevant to the position you're applying for. Now, let's get into how you can build a perfect resume. What should be on your resume and what should not be on your resume. To start with, the first thing you need to have on your resume is your name. You want to make sure you have your government name, not a nickname, not a funny name. The next thing that comes very right at the top is your phone number. Make sure to have a voicemail inbox that is not full, so that if employers or recruiters want to get in touch with you and you're not able to answer, they can leave a voice message for you. Do not leave ringtones or any music in the background that is not professional. It's important that you do this step. The next step for you would be to include your email address. Make sure that your email address is professional enough. It is not a funny looking email address, and it does not go, your email will not go to spam, or if they send an email to you, it will not bounce. So it's really important that you have a professional email. Gmails are generally recommended if you do not have a school email that has like a .edu, depending if you're still in college. The very next thing I want to also tell you to include on the top of your resume is a website or a LinkedIn profile. If your LinkedIn profile is up to date and is looking great, I would encourage you to do that. If you do not have a website or a LinkedIn profile, don't worry about putting that. But some universities encourage their students to have the portfolio. So if you have a portfolio already set up by your university, I would encourage you to include that as well on your resume. Okay? All right. So after you have done the very first part, which is your general information about yourself, the next section is to include your university, your degree, your education. If you're in college already, do you have a master's degree? Do you have a bachelor's? Whatever degree you have, an associate degree, you want to include that. And rule of thumb is not to include your high school diploma if you do have that. So don't worry about that if you just have a high school diploma, or if you've been in school, left high school a long time ago, don't include that. But make sure you include in reverse order your education. So, and it's also important in this area to include your GPA if you have anything over 3.5. If your GPA is less than 3.5, or some universities 3.0, I would say do not bother to include that on your resume. Okay, so once you have done this, you want to make sure that it's in chronological order in every step of the way. So the next thing you want to do, the next very section, is very important and key. You want to list your experience, or what jobs have you done, what places have you volunteered at, and those are the things you want to include on your resume. Some people feel like, well, I don't want to include things that I've done I don't have a lot of experience, or I was just a nanny, I was just a tutor. There's not much experience there. There is a lot of experience there because you can tell about your time in that job, in that position. So that's why we have the powers at the end of this class to help you include the right wording of your job responsibilities. Okay, so stay with me. The next thing that you want to also include is your activities and leadership positions. So if you've been involved in some capacity in volunteer opportunities in your community, in your place of work, in your church, wherever you play or work at, you want to include those, list those. Those are very, very important and critical as well. So you want to make sure that you have those listed as well. Employers want to see that you do have a balanced life between working and playing. So if you're volunteer, if you're in some sort of leadership in some capacity in your community, anywhere that you are in, you want to list those as well. If you've received awards, grants, funding, scholarship, those generally go into the category of leadership positions, awards, or honors. So it's important. This very next slide is going to show you exactly what a resume typically would look like. The resume format and tips that you see right here are not something that Dream Mentorship created. It's a format that is by Troy University Career Services Center. We are just borrowing from it to show you because we believe so much in this method. Their format and tips has worked for several people, and we also generally recommend using their format and tips in formatting your resume. So this format right here that you're looking at will give you like how the length of your resume, if you look at that on it, you can see the font you should use, your spacing, how you should do that, and how you should lay out your resume. So I want to encourage you to use this template when you are creating your resume. And of course, if you get stuck in any aspect of it and you need clarification, feel free to reach out to us at Dream Mentorship, and we'll be happy to answer questions that you have and also take a look at your resume and review it for you free of charge. Okay, so now we are moving over to the powers that you need to use in your resume. What are those powers? How do you describe your responsibilities and your roles and the things that you do? For example, if you achieved some things for the organization that you previously worked at, you can use words like achieved, capitalized, discerned, drove, established this XYZ goal for the organization. This makes your resume come out more professional than repeatedly using the same words to describe your position. So even if you open the cashier or the register and you're counting money, instead of simply saying that you counted money, you can say you handled the cashier or you handled receiving collections or payments from customer. You reconcile the accounts each day at the end of each business day. Those are ways that you can explain your responsibility at the organization. So use these power words in describing your role, in describing your on your responsibilities. Thank you very much for listening to our free course. If you have questions, I'm happy to go over any of the sections that we talked about. Also, even more importantly, we are happy to review your resume for you free of charge. So if you watch this video and you're still confused and you need help, or you have a resume and you need someone to give you feedback on that, please check us out at info@dreammentorship.org, or check us out on our website at dreammentorship.org. We'll be happy to help you. I hope this has been helpful. All right, bye.